What's up, guys? It is Zach from the Gamer Kit coming to you with a episode of the weekly podcast. I am joined with Matthew, and we have a new guest this week. This is Layla. You may remember her from our Scriblio gameplay as well as our Quiplash one. So yeah, why don't you give a little spiel? You know, what's your favorite food? All that kind of good stuff. All that important information.
Okay. Well, I'm from New Jersey, so obviously I like pizza. Hi, I'm Layla. Sometimes I go by Little Beans. That's my gamer tag for everything. So if you ever see a video of me in it with Little Beans, that's why.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Matt, yeah, we already know that.
Yeah,
We
know
already
me.
know that.
I don't need to say anything more.
How is everyone's week though? Everyone doing well. Everything's doing good.
Yeah, chilling,
Alright.
playing Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury on my Switch a lot, so that's fun.
Okay, quality. Cool. How about you, Layla?
Good.
Anything?
Good. Just still also trying to cruise through Mario 3D, Super Mario 3D.
Mm,
So.
mm. I feel that. I don't have a Switch, but I've been grinding out on Hades trying to do the epilogue, and it's taking too long.
Too long.
So that's been my
It's
week.
all that's always fun.
But yeah.
Love a good grindy game.
Oh god, it's still a good game, but you know. But
Yeah, I've heard Hades is really good.
yeah, it's definitely worth picking up for sure. But
Or
we got a lot of stuff to cover this week, so let's just as Philly D says, let's just jump
let's just
on into
jump
it.
right into it.
So
So,
yeah, do you wanna take lead, Matthew?
sure thing. So, yeah, a couple pretty big news stories came out this week. I was a little bit surprised by how much came out. I thought it was going to be a slow week, but the first thing that really came out that caught my eye, over the last few months, there's been a lot of rumors about E3 and what's supposed to be happening with E3. There were a lot of rumors about it going all digital, and it looks like those rumors have, I don't want to say been confirmed, but they've been added to by the fact that it's pretty much been confirmed that the E3 in-person live event for this year will, of course, be canceled. So, second straight year that there's not going to be a proper in-person E3.
Yeah.
So,
Um.
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I didn't know. I don't understand necessarily because I just saw the all I saw was that the live event was canceled, so I didn't know if that meant that when they say live event, I had assumed that the stream of E3 that would have taken place instead of just traditional E3. I thought that meant that was canceled. So I just thought E3 was blanket canceled. But if they
Yeah,
mean
no.
if they mean live event as in the classic Xbox live event and the PlayStation live event where we get information about that kind of thing.
Yeah, no. From what I saw on because from the article I saw, they had a picture of all the LA events that were canceled and things like that, and it mentioned, I guess when they said live event, the picture mentioned that they meant the in-person event was canceled, but they're still working on trying to make sure that a proper digital event happened
hmm
or happens. So
Right, right.
it's still happening in some form,
That's good.
and I mean, I'm happy about that because, as much as E3 can be one big ball of cringe every once in a while,
Yeah,
I always look forward to the big announcements, the cool moments that kind of happen. And
yeah.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do with an all digital this year, because last year's E3, I don't know if either of you remember what the plan was, but last year's E3 sounded like, before it got canceled, sounded like it was going to be a mess. It sounded like the way they were making it sound is that it was going to be a really influencer focused event,
Oh,
and it was going to be community driven, but with a bunch of YouTubers and influencers and things like that. And just the way it sounded, it didn't sound good at all.
yeah.
I knew something was wrong because Jeff Cayley, who runs the Game Awards, and who a lot of people say is always willing to accept some positive press on games for PR reasons. Even he said that he wasn't going to be attending last year's E3, and it was the first time ever that he wasn't going to be attending an E3. So even then, that's when I was like, oh, this doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
And now that's why I'm like, I hope 2021's is going to be in some way better.
Better than influencers.
Yeah.
Well, they've had time to, I guess, think about how they want to organize it. Because every big event, like of every, whether it's like some type of streamer awards or things like that, it's been like mostly like they'll have people like guests on like Zoom or some type of platform where they just see a bunch of guests and they talk about things they like, or they get to talk to influencers, and same thing like that. So what did you think? What would you think would be like their, I guess, video? Like what would their type of platform type thing?
I guess E3 probably, I mean, I guess they would just allow it to be like a YouTube channel or something like that where different things would be streamed. I imagine most of the conferences themselves would probably play out similarly to like last year, how like the Xbox game showcases played, and like how the PlayStation 5 reveal event played, where instead of just being like a conference, it would just be like a live stream where like maybe they'd have one or two people talking, but then they'd be like, all right, here's the games. Like something just quick, concise, just like that. I feel like, again, knowing E3, they might want to try to do some type of schedule thing where it's certain conferences and certain days. So like one day you'll have Microsoft and, I don't know, like EA, and then the next day you'll have like Sony and Ubisoft or something, and then the last day will be Nintendo, because that's how they usually do it. So I figure it'll still be something like that, but they'll just try to do it in like a live streamed type of way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't wait for the D'Amelio sisters to present the new Hellblade game. That'll be really
Yeah.
epic.
Can't wait for a TikToker to come on stage to at the Microsoft show.
That one that they did.
I don't even know the dances, so
There's
you're.
so many.
I can't wait to.
Such a
I don't
boomer
understand
now,
how they're
though. That's
famous.
gross.
I don't understand like why they're so famous. I don't I don't, because I'm a millennial, not a Gen Z, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm
it's,
Gen Z and I don't even get it.
like I look through
like-
TikTok and
like
I'm like,
when I-
what are these
like-
people? Why are they famous?
Well, if-
Like when Zach mentioned the D'Amelio sisters, I was like, I don't think it's worth harassing them because they're like literal kids doing this stuff. But I'm like,
Yeah,
how the hell did they get 100 billion followers just
helps.
dancing? It's more like I'm just like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah, those
Exactly.
a lot of the big like influencers and stuff. Not all of them, but a lot of them. You'll notice that they come from like families with like substantial amounts of like money, so they
Yeah.
already have like a way of like funding themselves to like market themselves, and like they have like a lot more access to like certain things that can like push their, I guess, platform further.
Their brand.
Yeah.
And now we're
Which
gonna
is
see
just
them.
their brand is just them, but you know.
Now this year, at Microsoft's E3 showing, we're gonna see them on stage presenting Perfect Dark, complete with a TikTok dance.
Or the new what was that
Cringe.
game that was like famous for being awful, or not awful, like Manhunt or whatever, the super famous game for being like gruesome back in
Hatred.
like the early that game. No, it's not Hatred, but it's the
Not
same
Hatred,
idea.
but
Yeah, I do want to. That would be hilarious though. See some
Just have them
Manhunt?
present
Or,
something like
Slender Man or whatever.
Thunderman. No, it wasn't that.
No, Slenderman is what you said.
Slenderman. No.
Still be funny imagining them dance to a violent game like
Yeah, just
that.
something like horrible. Yeah.
Like before, like, all right, GTA 6 is about to get shown off, but first,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, GTA 6. People have been waiting so long for that because everyone's been playing GTA 5.
it goes trending on Twitter every week,
I don't
and
think.
I always click on it knowing that there's not going to be any actual news of GTA 6.
No, yeah. I don't think we're
Clickbaiting
gonna get
me.
GTA 6 for a while because they're making so
That's-
much on 5 now.
Especially because I didn't write this in terms of news topics, but I did see this week that apparently the CEO of Take-Two said that this upcoming PS5 and Series X version isn't going to be a simple port. So I'm like,
Oh yeah.
what they're essentially saying is you're not getting GTA 6 anytime soon. So enjoy the third version of GTA 5.
They're gonna They're saying it's not gonna be a simple port, but it's like
It probably will be. They
oh my
just
God.
they gotta,
Like, it's just
they gotta
it's just
blow it up.
PR.
They gotta make it seem better.
That just sounds like PR kind of shit. But
It's
yeah. What's it called? Actually, speaking loosely related to PR, how did From Software? What did they say about the leaks, because I know I saw something saying that the leaks like weren't represent for Elden Ring. This is what we're talking about. They were saying like the leaks that were released like aren't representative of where the game is going now. That's like a very like old build or something. But
To be completely honest, I didn't even know that From Software actually acknowledged the leaks.
yeah, I don't know if it was from. This is just something I had heard in like passing. But yeah, I don't know if it was from, but I'm pretty sure someone like said that it is not representative of like the direction the game is currently going in at this point.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Or that's like
because
a
I only
build
just
or
looked up
something.
a video. I only just looked up the video of the leaks right now, like upscaled to 4K or
Oh,
as best as it could because
okay. Filming
it
on
was
someone's
filmed
TV.
with the
Yeah.
144p flip phone.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know they actually acknowledged it. I just saw the videos and thought, oh, okay, so it exists.
I don't know if it was them that did. I know someone did. I just don't know if it was them. But
Mm.
yeah, I forget. Were either of you guys big Souls fans or no? Because I've always been into Souls for a while, but I don't know if you guys.
I don't really have any familiarity with From Software's games.
From Software's
I've seen them, but I've never played them. I didn't play Souls. I didn't play Bloodborne. Didn't play Sekiro.
Yeah, I what's it called? I was talking about it with Jared earlier, and I was just like, and I think I am very much like a cynical person, and I just like pissing on stuff. I don't know, not like pissing on stuff, but like just like pointing stuff out. That sounds like so shitty, but like I don't know. Like I feel like this game that they're like hyping up so much, like Elden Ring. At least if it does end up going in the direction and what the same and they were saying was just PR talk of them like avoiding like oh no, it's gonna be different than the leaks or like whatever. Assuming it does go in that direction, in my head I'm just like it's literally exactly the same as Dark Souls. It looks exactly the same as Dark Souls, which is fine
Yeah.
because I like Dark Souls. But
Dark
on the same hand,
cynical.
it's like you guys are talking up like like George R. R. Martin's like writing this game, and it's just like it's literally the same. It is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was actually funny because in our chat with the YouTube team when we were talking about the leaks, Zach literally responded, "Wow, it looks like Dark Souls."
Yeah, it's
I looked at the gameplay. I was like, I mean, I don't know much about Dark Souls, but yeah, it kind of just looks like if you threw Dark Souls and The Witcher together or something like that, and then
yeah. I don't know.
put it together.
I hope.
I mean, I guess it looks cool to me, but that's mostly because I don't really have much of a familiarity with their games. So I guess I don't really have like a framework to know like, does this look bad to everyone else or does it look good? Like, is this the
Yeah.
direction it should be going or not? Like,
yeah, I mean,
stuff like that.
I have no idea what direction. Even when like the first like cinematic trailer came out, I was like, this just narratively and like the way it was like framed and stuff just seems like Dark Souls. It's just like the classic dystopian like fantasy universe. You're chosen to do something and save the world.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be like some weird like caveat or something where like saving the world isn't really saving the world or something like that. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay,
I
that's
think-
like, it's literally the same game, but like okay.
I think as much as people were hyping it, I think I might have blanked on it when they announced it at E3 in 2019, just because like the reveal of it was like, I don't even remember if it was a cinematic trailer or just a title card or something like that, but I think a lot of times, just this is more personal, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm watching E3 and I see like a non-gameplay demonstration of a game, unless it's something that I've like really, really been looking forward to, a lot of times I just go and then forget it ever happened because I didn't see any gameplay.
Right, yeah. No, I totally get that. That's totally fair. Yeah,
Like, I think the only time that didn't happen was like Metroid Prime 4, for example, but that's just because I've been
that was
looking forward.
literally just a screen that said Metroid
Yeah,
Prime 4.
it was literally a title card,
Yeah,
but that
exactly.
the only reason I remember that is because I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, I love the Metroid Prime series as well. So.
With Elden Ring, I think it got announced, and I just was like, "Oh right, this is that George R. R. Martin thing that they were talking
Yeah.
about." And then it never got shown again, so I kind of just forgot it existed for a good second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good, and I was talking to some like my personal friends about it, and I'm like I'm gonna buy it, and like we're all gonna like do like a playthrough together, but I'm not like like super like amped for it. Like
Yeah, it
some other
didn't like when I saw the leak, it didn't look like it was like changing my very thought on how I look at any video game. I was
Yeah.
like, it looks like it'll be cool,
Yeah.
but I don't really know these type of games, so.
Yeah. But yeah. So what else was happening this week?
Um, Epic Games acquiring Mediatonic, the creators of Fall Guys. I think
Stumble Fellas.
Stumble Fellas, indeed.
Yes, yes.
I think didn't Epic Games acquire also the company that made Rocket League, Psyonix?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, this is just another one of their big acquisitions.
Yeah, they're making a big push, it seems, for like, well, I guess both of those. Like it seems like they're trying to corner that like competitive-esque like cartoony like market, kind of like in the same way that like Fortnite is. It not like, so like all of those games in particular, they're like competitive but not like, you wouldn't equate them to like League or like Siege or something like that. Like if I had to compare, like if I had to compare like competitive games, I would probably put Fall Guys, Fortnite, and Rocket League into one category versus like League, Siege, and like CS:GO and like another.
Mhm.
Just like different kinds
exactly.
of like play styles and like player bases, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that because I was going to say I play like Fall Guys and Rocket League, and I wouldn't say that those go in the same category as League or CS:GO. I think it's more that I think the way I look at it is that those kind of games are like the accessible competitive games, for lack of a better way to put it. So
no, that is a good way to put it. No,
like everybody plays them.
Yeah, so Epic is trying to like grab up all those semi-competitive, accessible type of games that are popular, so they know that they could make a good amount off of them.
Yeah.
And apparently, like some of the rumors, obviously because they did this with Rocket League, are that Fall Guys might be taking on the free-to-play model, which I fine, but I was gonna say, having played Fall Guys, I feel like that game's microtransactions aren't too like in your face or annoying or anything like that. So, I mean, if it goes free to play, I can't think of that as being anything more than a positive. Like, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna push the microtransactions anymore because the way I look at it, Fall Guys is a game where you can't really upgrade your character or like pay to win or pay to do better. All the microtransactions just like lead to currency to buy more costumes. So since they're not as intrusive, I can't imagine that would change if the game went free to play. I think my biggest hope when it comes to Epic Games acquiring Mediatonic is that I really hope, I can't believe the game doesn't have this, that Fall Guys gets crossplay, especially because it's now coming to the Switch and it's coming to Xbox. So I think crossplay seems like it should be essential for a game like this.
Yeah, I have to show up on one of your Fall Guys streams. I have to challenge you guys.
Yeah, because in the chat last time you were piping yourself as
you guys were
better than us.
You guys choked right at the end, bro.
I came very close. I was in second. And you know what? I didn't have pressure on me though because I won. I finally won my crown.
Yep, you got your crown.
I got my crown, so I didn't have to feel like I was pressured to win this stream.
I forget. I'm trying to remember. When we played DVD, you were able to escape, I think, a couple times, right?
The last game I did, but that's because we had really, really nice killer.
Oh yeah, when he just like let us like leave.
When it just let us win.
Yeah. That's another game you should try and get more into. I really enjoy DVD. It is really fun.
Do you feel like those kinds of games, those are more I guess like darker games, are starting to become prevalent? I just feel like a lot of streamers and just gamers in general, are going for those types of games that are a little more like Death by Daylight, like Dark Souls, like. It's just becoming popular to play more, I don't know, darker.
More
games.
Action, I don't know. I think there's. I don't know if it's darker necessarily, because if you look at like the most popular streams, Fall Guys is up there.
Fortnite, Minecraft.
League is always going to be up there. I think it's not necessarily darker. It's just competitive stuff. Like Dead by Daylight is very clearly a very streamable game. like any of those like competitive types, and Dead by Daylight is good because it's very not derivative of like a lot of other games that people might stream. Um,
Yeah,
it's like team based competitive too. So you can like go on with like all your friends and stuff, stream all your friends having a good time. Or if you're
Yeah.
better, you can just stream yourself being like a god, like Ots or whatever, and just like destroying everyone.
yeah, I think that's what kind of leads to those kind of games doing well on stream. I don't know if it's necessarily darker or lighter or what, but I find that like just in the examples that we mentioned, games like Dead by Daylight and Fall Guys and Rocket League all kind of provide something that other games don't. Like it feels like their concepts and the way they play is far different from anything else, and I think that's what kind of just draws people in a lot of times,
Yeah.
especially when it's online games like that that are so perfect for streaming that you could bring anyone in for. So I think it's just a matter of really the best games that end up getting streamed a lot are just the ones that
Yeah.
provide an experience that no other games do,
I think it
or
really,
as close to that,
Yeah.
because creativity in 2021 in the gaming industry is hard to come by. But
like I think if you look at like what performs best consistently, it is almost always like competitive games. Because even
Yeah.
like Dark Souls streams, I don't know if like now it's pretty popular, and like stuff like Hades and stuff, like all of those big games, they're like big, um, like initially for streaming and stuff like that. But you'll see they'll always like taper off. It's these like games as a service, even though I hate games as a service, but like, or I hate what it can lead to, but like
yeah,
like stuff that is inherently going to keep people playing competitively. People are going to watch streams of either for just entertainment or to like figure out how they themselves can become better at said game. Which Fall Guys, I
Yeah.
guess, like you don't really have to like look up how to be better, but like Dead by Daylight and like other stuff like that, there's like strats and like Siege and stuff and League.
Also, I
And
think
even
it can't
Among
be.
Us.
Yeah, Among
and
Us too.
Among Us. Among Us
I
is
think it
really-
also.
you
I was just gonna say, I think it also can't be understated. Just like games that are very reactionary, like games that you play that like you can make a funny reaction to, like a naturally funny reaction.
Like a
I know,
Paul Face.
Zach. I was gonna say, I know there's definitely some of the
Yeah.
crowd, but like there are some games that genuinely get you a little more hyped up than others and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think that the value of a game like that can't be understated when it comes to streaming, for example.
But
What were you saying about Among Us, though? Sorry, I cut you off.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just noticed like in general, like games like Among Us and obviously and Fall Guys too, they get a lot of like I wouldn't say hate, but they're getting like, oh, why are these games like so popular? I just feel like because they're
Yeah.
fun and like with the quarantine era right now, everyone's just like, oh, I'm gonna go play Fall Guys. I'm gonna play this because it's like fun to play with a lot of people.
I think it
So-
also helps those games in particular. Those games have a lot younger audience as well, and like
Yeah.
like a huge like younger audience. Like a lot of like what's it called? My friend he's like a sub at one of the local schools in my area, and he says like all the like kids do like in the downtime during like recess or whatever, within like the limited space and whatever. Despite it being like Corona, they'd play like Among Us or something,
Yeah.
or Fall Guys, even.
Yeah, and I think when you mention like those games getting hate, I think it also comes down to the fact that like there is a trope in the entertainment industry as a whole that when something gets extremely popular, there are going to be a huge legion of people that hate it on that alone. And I think Fall Guys and Among Us tend to get that. Personally, I love both of them. I think they're both hella fun.
I
But
think
there's obviously going to be people that are just going to be drained by how popular they get and just
Yeah.
kind of not like them.
I think another reason for the hate is actually the popularity because of all the kids. Is because
Yeah.
you might get like stuck. Like I'm like realistically like if I go into like a public lobby and I'm like an adult, I why would I want to play with like a bunch of like kids? Like 12
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's just,
I mean, it's more
like,
fun
I
to
just
play
like
with
don't
people
want
the same
that.
age as me. Yeah.
Like I'd be down even now. I didn't get like super into Among Us. Just because you're playing with a crew that end up getting like so good at it, and then you're just like I just can't do anything.
I've been playing other stuff too, like.
Yeah,
exactly.
and what's it called? But I feel like the concept is really interesting. But yeah, just and I like occasionally like when I first started playing, I'd like try to go into public lobbies and it's just abysmal. Like
It's
just a terrible.
I could say for
it.
sure Among Us in public lobbies is way less fun than Among Us with
it's,
like a private
it's
lobby.
atrocious. Yeah,
It's poopy.
yeah. But
Definitely.
Because I was gonna say I pretty much play Among Us. I still play it like on a weekly basis with a lot of my friends on Discord, and it's still hella fun. But like the few times that I've tried to play it in public lobbies, I'm like, oh, this is not nearly as fun.
yeah.
Like when you play it with your friends, it's funny because like you get reactions out of each other, and like you can like try your best to galaxy brain each other. But if you're playing in a public lobby, it's like
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm red. Oh, I just got voted off. Okay, like
exactly.
epic, like
Yeah, epic.
And it's more of like a trolley like vote off. It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
I saw you. I think you're the imposter. I saw you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
or
it's like-
sometimes they might legitimately think you're the imposter. They might just be like dumb. Like you
I
can
think that-
always count on someone just being like an idiot in like a public lobby, and you're just like.
I did have a moment.
no.
This was a one funny public lobby moment. There was one time we were playing. Game started. I moved about 2 steps, and someone hit the emergency meeting button. And then in the chat we were like, "What?" Dude goes, "It's black." He's like, "He's blue." He goes, "It's black." We were like, "What?" Trust me. We voted him, kicked him off. He was the imposter, and we were just like,
No, yeah, dude was probably what's it called, like on with his like friend or something, and just
Probably with a
ratting-
friend or
ratting
something.
his friend out. Yeah.
just something like that.
Trust me,
We didn't
bro.
still-
Yeah,
New source, trust me, bro.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just dude, trust me.
So what else? What else had happened? It was
Well, the biggest probably maybe was the increased rumors of the new Nintendo Switch that's coming out.
Yes.
To be fair, these rumors have not necessarily been new, because I think we've been specifically the rumors that were coming out were about the Switch having like a OLED screen and that this new Switch is going to output in 4K. So I mean, we've been hearing that for months, but it's kind of just that now they're starting to like hit a fever point because there's more talk about parts being sent out, the system being unveiled later this year, released later this year, things like that. So now it's just kind of becoming an even bigger deal than it was, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah, Layla,
I-
did you? This is your wheelhouse. I feel like so. I want you to just sweep us all away.
So with this screen that I am kind of like I already have a Switch. like is it, well, Matt? You've been watching it too. Like, do you think it's gonna make a difference? Like, do you think it's gonna be better?
I mean, I don't really think it's going to be like a leaps and bounds improvement over the current Switch. The way that they're kind of saying it, because like the OLED screen, it's not really going to change like the resolution. It's still going to display at 720 on this new Switch, which is fine because then it won't drain the battery life at least. And
True.
even though they're hyping it as a 4K Switch, it's really just the dock is going to output at 4K now. So, like, it's not like the system's being built with new parts. It's just 4K compatible now. So, in a way, I kind of think of it less like a Switch 2 and more like it's kind of what the PlayStation 4 Pro was for the original PS4, or like what the Xbox One X was for the original Xbox One, because it's kind of just like a slightly upgraded version that kind of just outputs at 4K.
Yeah. So when you're saying it used to not have the ability to output at 4K, and now it does. But it does. Does it have like the hardware to support like optimal like frame rate at 4K? Because that would be like my concern. Like if you're running like Hades or something at 4K.
That's the $1 million question right there.
Dude,
You're asking a great question.
That's literally just a waste of money then.
Because yeah, it sounds like the way they're saying it, it sounds like it's not even the Switch itself that's going to be 4K. It's just that the dock is now powerful enough that it can output games in 4K. Which I mean, cool, but
yeah,
I'd prefer
if it can't run the game in 4K, then it's just gonna make the game run like garbage.
Yeah, and then you like upscale it to 4K, which could possibly make you notice more like bad details, for example, with the graphics because the game isn't optimized for 4K, so you start noticing like pop in at glorious 4K or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I think the only reason that I'm not like, even as a Nintendo fan, I'm not leaps and bounds over the new Switch because, to be fair, even if it gets hyped as a 4K Switch, I'm always more about frame rate than resolution when it comes to games because frame rate affects the gameplay more than the fucking resolution.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just like, cool. The only reason that I would really get reasonably excited for this new Switch is if there were games coming to it that are not coming to the base Switch. Like if the games are going to play significantly worse on the base Switch, which again, it doesn't really sound like that's the case. Again, it just sounds like it's a Switch with a better screen and the ability to output at 4K.
Exactly. It's just I don't know how much it's going to change anything. I just feel like it's to add to the. I don't know. There's a lot of hype right now with some games in the Nintendo world, like Animal Crossing, especially. Like with all the different holidays that come up, people are getting excited about it. So it's like, and actually, the Switch during the holidays was very hard to find. When I say it was hard to find, it was hard to find. So I guess they're just trying to hop on the craze because it's the only Nintendo console out there right now. And aside from
I feel like it's like they kind of want to keep pace with the new systems, but not go all the way in because maybe if they went all the way in, it would jack the price up way too much. Because the Switch is like, it's $300 for the regular Switch, which is still a good chunk of cash, but it's at least better than what the current consoles are marketing for, so it's a little more affordable. I feel like if they went all in on a 4K Switch at the moment, it might jack up the price a little too much, and maybe Nintendo wants to focus on not doing that, so they're kind of just like trying to get into the 4K world, but not,
fully committing.
Not fully committing, not making like a PS5 or Series X powerful console, just something that like, it can do it.
Yeah.
It can struggle. It can chug
it can,
4K.
It's gonna make the turnips in Animal Crossing look better.
Yeah, you might notice you'll get Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 in very pretty 4K,
Actually,
running at the ultimate maximum of 15 frames per second.
Yeah, like what would now? It's just got me thinking. Like what would even be the point of running the game? Because the game, like most of the games that they have are like first party anyway, and most of those games run like beautifully and like look beautiful at their like current resolution and stuff. So I don't see like how much more detail are you getting if jumping to 4K for something like what the hell?
Splatoon 3, for example.
Yeah, or like Breath of the Wild. I mean, I guess Breath of the Wild would look
Stardew Valley
in like 4K.
Stardew Valley, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Or like new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. Because they like Nintendo, I feel like has always pioneered like not like they're not like super detail oriented in like the. Because I feel like they've always been with like relatively limited hardware, at least from like the 2000s on. So they've made like a lot more like colorful, like games, not necessarily like heavy, like detailed, like sharp edges. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
I feel like I guess the way I could sum it up from what you're saying, and I can agree, is they focus more on art style as opposed to pure graphics.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah. Which I think is great, and it suits their niche like perfectly. So what I'm saying is like I feel like you're not going to be getting that much more out of an art style in 4K rather than like you're not going to be getting that much more detail. So I feel like it's just
I think it's just because I feel like 4K is just the thing everyone's jumping on now.
Yeah.
I was just about to say it's the buzzword that everyone clings to when they hear 4K. They're like, "Oh, it's 4K," but like. Yeah, exactly, that face too. But I'm like, I personally, I've said it before, I don't really care about resolution. I'm more about frame rate. I'd rather a 1080p 60 game than a 4K 30 game. So, I mean, I guess it's just like, again, the way this console sounds so far, this new Switch just sounds more like an upscale than anything else.
Yeah. So they're not doing anything to the hardware other than what you were saying with the
It sounds like it's not really much. Maybe maybe I misread, and maybe there are a few minor little things they're adding to it, but from what I've seen, it sounds like the base hardware, like, okay, I have my Switch here, I guess. Like, really, the only thing that's going to be different about this is the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
And other than that, not much else.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I feel like people are going to probably still buy it. It'll probably be like, maybe cool. Maybe the games that'll be upscaled to 4K will actually look stunning and I'll eat my boot, but it's like, I don't think for me it'll be an essential purchase unless there are games that can only be played on this particular iteration.
That would be rude. That'd be rude if they started doing that. That would be rude as hell.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did because I don't know if you remember this, but when they had the 3DS, they had the new 3DS, and there were certain games that could only be compatible with the new 3DS. Like they released like Xenoblade Chronicles for 3DS, but you can only play it on the new 3DS models, not the original ones. So I feel like we might eventually get to that point if we get a Switch 2, like a proper Switch 2, where the games are only compatible with the Switch 2. But this kind of sounds like you're not going to be locking games behind the new Switch. It's just that the new Switch is just going to, like, upscale them.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess another Nintendo news, so a lot of memes and stuff are being passed around this month because of also Mario Day, which is March 10th. So,
that is like 4 days from now.
Yeah, so what do you feel, I guess maybe from your guys' perspective, like, I guess which is the best out of your favorite out of the Mario series?
Out of the Mario series?
Yeah.
That one's actually very easy for me to answer because Super Mario Odyssey is my favorite video game of all time. So that's a pretty easy one for me.
Yeah.
But it's really hard because generally the main series Mario games are so good. So you could really pick anyone, but me personally, I just love Odyssey.
Yeah. I was never super into Mario. Like, I had a GameCube and stuff, but I got a GameCube late, so I was exposed to all, like, the other games and stuff a lot earlier, so I didn't really feel the need to, like, buy them. Like, my friend had Super Mario Sunshine, and I would just watch it, because that was, like, way back, like, when I was, like, really little, and every day after school, I would go to his house until, like, 5 p.m. My parents would pick me up, and then we'd go home and, like, eat dinner. So I'd have, like, 2 hours, like, every day, like, 5 days a week of, like, watching my friend play Super Mario Sunshine. So I guess Super Mario Sunshine. But I really did, I really did like that game, like, stylistically. I think it was really cool. If I wanted to, like, cheat or whatever, I'd be like, oh, like, Mario Kart Double Dash, as my quintessential Mario game.
It counts.
Yeah, like, that was a game I played the hell out of. I love Mario Kart Double Dash and like Mario Party. Like Mario Party 5 was my big one. I know a lot of people are more into like 6 and stuff. I've never played.
I never really got into the GameCube Mario Parties. I didn't really play Mario Party till 8 on the Wii.
Oh really? Mario Party 8's great, really good.
Yeah, and even with Mario Kart, like I enjoy the series, but I didn't get hooked on it until like Mario Kart 7 on 3DS, and 8 is still my favorite of them. Like Double Dash, I tried to go back and play, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is a game that is hard.
No, I think 8's like way harder than
really?
Double Dash. Yeah, personally, that's it's probably just because I had so much practice in Double Dash.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's the difference between us. You got more practice in Double Dash. I have more practice in 8, so divide there. They're both great though, and I think it's cool. It's cool because a lot of the GameCube games seem to be getting a lot more like retrospective love now than they did back then. Yeah. And I feel like Double Dash is an example of that. Like back then, Double Dash, probably most people saw it as like, it's fine, it's a Mario Kart game. But now there are a lot of people that are like, this is the best Mario Kart game, or like one of the best Mario Kart games.
No, I think what's it called? Like, I thought the GameCube was great. I think it was like an incredible system. Like
it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
by far.
There were so many, like that era. I feel like was so contingent on like couch co-op and stuff.
Like nostalgic type thing. Like...
Yeah, and it was one of the only systems of that era that had like 4-player support, because PS2.
Yeah, they only had 2.
I think the original Xbox had 4 like 4 slots, but even then there weren't that many like 4-player games that you could play on the original Xbox or whatever.
Yeah, like PS2 only had 2 ports as well, as far as I
Yeah,
know. If you wanted to play 4, you had to get one of those splitters.
yeah, and like the only like multiplayer games would be like the early CODs and stuff,
Hmm.
amongst like other things. But yeah, it was very. I feel like both of those systems were very much more like 2-player focused. Whereas like if you
Hmm.
want to have like your whole crew over, like GameCube is perfect because you
Yeah, and
you just
a lot of Nintendo's first-party games of that era were actually just really, really good. And in some
yeah
cases, they just went very underrated. Like, I know a lot of people hated Wind Waker when it was announced, but now people are like, no, Wind Waker's amazing. So,
yeah
like,
yeah no, a lot of people are really into Wind Waker. I still like Twilight Princess the best. Um,
I haven't actually
again, like
started Wind Waker, but I agree. I love Twilight
yeah,
Princess.
like art style and like story. I just like Twilight Princess a lot. And that
For
is
sure.
more the gritty, dark nature of Twilight Princess. I feel like just aged better with me. Um,
Fair.
but
Layla, since you would pose the question, what's your
yes,
quintessential favorite Mario game?
I think I'd for me it'd be Super Mario Sunshine just because it was my first game I've ever like completed.
mm,
And that it came back for the Switch, and I was like really excited that it came back. Um, I've just that's just a game that you go to and you play, and there's like nostalgia behind it. But a lot of people, for some reason, I don't know why, but it's like some kind of like, oh, it's not the
yeah,
best. It's not the best game. There's a way better. Like Super Mario Odyssey is very popular. I feel
Yeah, I was
like
gonna say I think it's a lot of people thought because 64 was like super revolutionary when it came out, and that's the one that I grew up with. I love 64.
right,
So like for a lot of people when Sunshine came out, they were like, eh,
yeah,
like not as
yeah,
good. But like I know a lot of people. That's one of the few 3D Mario games that I really haven't played all that much. I plan to at some point, but like I know that's one that a lot of people have really, really grown to love as of late. And I think honestly, it has one of my favorite soundtracks in a Mario game. I love the music in that game,
mm,
and I think that the just Isle Delfino itself is just beautiful. I love that
yeah.
area. That game's open world is awesome.
yeah.
What do you think of Bowser Fury since you're playing it? Like,
Oh, I actually finished the Bowser's Fury part of the game, so now I'm back to playing the base game. Bowser's Fury is actually really a really cool little side piece to 3D World. It's basically just like if you took 3D World's engine and then dropped it into a more open world. So you kind of mix 3D World with Odyssey, and out comes Bowser's Fury, and it's fun. It's pretty short, but it's a really enjoyable adventure. I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it was really great.
So, what's it called? Did you guys see as well? There's not Nintendo related, but apparently they're doing a D&D open world game in development, even though there's like 10 of those already. Like Baldur's
Yeah, I
Gate
mean,
3
D&D is
already
popular. I'm
exists.
telling
Like
you.
no,
I
yeah,
saw that.
D&D is really popular now.
I saw that. I'm not even really a D&D type, but I saw that like just I have an IGN app, and that's how I keep up with a lot of the gaming news. So I saw the headline. It just said like open world third person D&D RPG in development, and I just kind of went,
You're like, again?
oh.
Like
No, I just no, I literally was like, oh, like that sounds cool.
yeah.
I'm very in on that idea. I looked it up. Apparently, it's being made by Hidden Path Entertainment, who helped Valve make CS:GO. So I guess they have like a resume.
What's
Very
that?
weird
Yeah, that's a very
divide between
unrelated
CS:GO
resume.
and then this, but I was like, okay, so I mean, I guess they're trustworthy. I think I haven't played CS:GO, so I don't know, but
Yeah.
it seems trustworthy. And honestly, I'm down at least to see where it goes. Like that sounds like a cool concept for a game.
Yeah. What's it called? I like relatively recently, within like the past like 2 years or so, got into D&D. Um, and I really enjoyed it for the most part. My only concern, and it was the same concern I had with Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't really watched gameplay of it, so I don't know how it translates. But my my concern was the fact that you roll in both those games. Like you roll for like stats and like action and like stuff
Yeah,
like that and
that's
like initiative. And I feel like when you're playing that as a board game with friends, it's like cool if you like roll like terribly or whatever. It's like all right, like whatever. I'm still like with my friends, so it's like fine. And you haven't like spent money on it. But if you're just like unlucky in a game that I've like paid for, and you just like crit fail on like something really important, that just like ruins the game, and you're just like,
I was gonna say that's probably
fuck,
the one
like...
big concern I've had. How are they gonna translate the dice rolling into a
Yeah.
base game? Even though I'm not a D&D
Baldur's
guy.
Gate has like dice rolling in it, and like I said, like I haven't seen gameplay of it, so I don't know how it would like affects like different things. But like again, like I wouldn't want to be like like it would make me lose my mind if I got like locked out of like content just because I like crit failed or something, or I like didn't roll high enough. And the fact that especially the fact if that was like random, like that sucks. Like that would be
Yeah, exactly.
terrible. Like
I'm just like I kind of wonder how that would work in the game because like even though I'm not a big fan, I've seen the board game, I've seen my friends play it, and I like the storytelling aspect, so that's what keeps me paying attention to D&D a lot of times. And it makes me wonder, I'm like, well, actually, now that I think about it, now that I mentioned that, there's two concerns. One, how is the dice rolling going to work? And two, given that D&D seems to be a game centered around making up your own quests and stories, how are they going to translate that into a game? Like just having one single like story that you have to play? Because, the whole cool thing about D&D is being able to make your own story. I wonder how that would translate into a game, if it would translate at all.
yeah, that is actually a really good point.
I've only watched because everyone I'm a fan of Rooster Teeth. I've watched they play D&D every week, and it's like their own game that they've made. And it seems interesting, but if you're not someone who's like, I don't know, gets started on it, maybe you're like, oh, I don't know. Well, I think it's something you would have to start with everybody together and kind of just gradually go together.
Yeah.
So you can level up.
From my experience in it, you almost always have to like start playing with someone who like actually knows what they're doing, because you are going to get like overwhelmed if you just like jump in and like try to like do everything and like have one friend DM that's like never written a story in their entire life, like doesn't know like game mechanics and stuff like that, because then you just constantly be breaking pace, like having to like read through the book, and it would just suck. It would just be like a bad experience. So you almost always like need to have someone that like distinctly knows like what's going on. Like, and it doesn't have to be like everyone. It can literally just be like one person. But as long as you have like one person in your like group to like guide you along, it makes it like playable. But yeah, I don't know, like I feel like I don't, like we were talking about earlier, like in terms of thing that's like wow, like I feel like a D&D like video game does not like wow me. I'm just like, I can just play like an RPG, or I can play like Divinity Original Sin 2, and that's like a close enough D&D experience that I would get rather than needing like a whole like new game. I mean, if it's a good game, it's a good game, but like
I think again, I kind of am more excited for it just to see like how they do it, because that sounds like something that, like I said, sounds like there's a lot of concerns with translating it to a video game, especially an open world third person RPG kind of thing. So I'm like, it's more, I guess, less excitement and more intrigue as to how this is actually going to go. Like, how are they going to handle it? Is it going to be something that's that fun, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But I mean, that's, I'm sure there's been plenty of times, I can't think off the top of my head, where I've had a game where I thought it wasn't going to work, or that it sounded stupid, and then it ended up working.
And then it ends up being awesome. Yeah.
That's the fun part about games. Sometimes you like having those surprises where something sounds like it's not going to work, but then it does.
Yeah, a nice like pleasant surprise. Like what's it called? Everyone was super like completely unrelated genre, but everyone was super nervous with you remember like Jedi Fallen Order, like before that was coming out. Everyone was terrified because it's EA. Like why would I ever trust EA? There's a
YouTuber. There's a YouTuber I watch, Scott the Waz.
Yeah.
EA is famous for like
sucking,
like legitimately like ruining like games. and like studios
And
and stuff.
franchises, yeah.
They'll because they're like rich as shit. It's a big like publisher, so they'll buy up developers, like developers companies. Pretty much like suck out all creative control that they would have around a game. They're very much for that like business mentality, like games as a business mentality. So shoving just like microtransactions, all kinds of garbage into a game.
Like
Um,
Sims.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like even like worse kind of shit, honestly. Like but and then they'd what's it called?
Shut the company when the game bombs.
And then when the game like wouldn't perform well, because why would it perform well when it's just full of like garbage and like pay to win mechanics? They like shut down the development studio. Like they literally like stop the developer from existing. Like that's what happened to
Horrible.
Visceral. That's what happened to Visceral Games, the guys who made Dead Space. They got
Yeah, I
bought
was gonna
out
say
by...
it was
Yeah, go
it
ahead.
was funny when it comes to EA. There's a YouTuber I really like. A lot of people know him, Scott the Waz. When he did a video in like one of the E3s when they showed Jedi Fallen Order, he was like, "It looks good, but this damn thing won't come off." And it's him like trying to scratch the EA logo off of
Yeah,
the game
exactly. Yeah.
logo like on a paper or whatever. Because I was like, that was the only reason. That was the big reason I didn't trust the game because it sounded cool and I like Respawn Entertainment, so I was like, "Oh, that sounds neat." But then seeing the big EA in the logo makes me go,
Yeah.
"Yikes!"
It's like seeing like a cherry, like a really nice shiny cherry, but then like right under the cherry is like a giant pile of like cow shit. And then
Oh
you're
my
just
God.
you're just like trying to just get the cherry without like scraping any of like the feces on it, or you're just trying to like brush all that like off. Like EA is awful. Apparently they've gotten like a little better. Or I do have to give them credit with like Battlefront 2. They did like go back after everyone. Granted, it was after everyone was like, eat a dick. Like,
Granted, they should have done it on launch day.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say also, I played Battlefront 2. I'm glad they fixed a lot of the multiplayer stuff,
Yeah.
but I still don't care much for the game because the campaign is still utter
It's
doo doo
poopy. Yeah.
caca.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why I'm like, man, I hope Jedi Fallen Order actually leads people to like start caring more about campaigns because it sucks when there's a game with a cool idea that gets just undone by a duty caca campaign.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're right.
Because like maybe that's also me as a single player gamer, but like a lot of times it sucks when I see a game and I'm like, oh, this looks awesome, I'm on board, and then they're like, it's gonna be multiplayer only, and I go, thanks for saving me money.
Like,
Like,
exactly.
bye.
Do you think this play to win? Like I've noticed, like Nintendo wants to do more free to play type games, or basically pay to win type games, and like they did for the Mario Party, the what do you call it, Mario Kart's World, the one that's for the
Oh yeah, Mario Kart Tour.
they want to do that for like more games, and I'm like, please don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad. In Nintendo's case, I'm glad they're keeping it to like mobile spin-offs that no one cares about because I feel like if they started doing it with actual like mainline games, like if they had play to win mechanics and new Pokemon Snap, I would probably flip out.
Yeah. I think the big issue with that kind of thing is it doesn't encourage or discourage, but it allows like developers to get away with like not finishing their game, because anytime or like locking stuff behind paywalls that should have been in the game in the first place, like basic like mechanical stuff or like interesting like cosmetics and stuff that
was actually, it's funny you mentioned that with Nintendo because that was a problem at one point with Nintendo. It wasn't the worst thing, but like when the original Splatoon came out, they had like the amiibos for the game would come with levels that would unlock better weapons. So people were like, oh, so that's basically just them locking content behind paywalls.
That was
so
with Breath of the Wild. I remember you could only get like certain like costumes and like cool weapons and shit with amiibos, which is annoying. But, like,
Exactly.
What's it called? So
comes down also to how intrusive it is on the main game. Like, do you need these broken ass weapons to actually play and have fun with the game?
And again, like technically, like no, like you could still like enjoy like the gameplay experience, but like I know one of the big amiibo, like I already mentioned how like I'm a huge fan of like Twilight Princess. Like you could get the Twilight Princess like armor set and like all that shit if you had like the wolf amiibo.
The Wolf Link amiibo, yeah.
Yeah, the wolf link amiibo. Um and that just sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's like and even then I will say like of the microtransactions to have or to do in a way that's kind of cool because you're getting both an in-game item and you're getting like a neat figurine as well just to have um but then at the same time it's like how much is that, like how much is like a piece of plastic worth that's just gonna like sit on my shelf, like slash like what it's going to give me in game. I think my issue with it is determining like value on and how that affects like and how much is this thing that I want, like is it really worth like $20 for like a camo, like no.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want it and it's just it feels unfair, and I it technically is unfair because yeah fundamentally like a script of code that's gonna like change the way your character looks should never be worth $20. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's more like that. Anytime you get like the games with the service thing, people are afraid of that kind of stuff getting into their game, which is totally understandable, and it incentivizes developers and like publishers and stuff to push to have that kind of stuff in the game in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. To be scummy about it.
Yeah, so it's a shame, but I don't know. I think that's more where things are headed. But there has been a lot of backlash about it now, and it seems like things are becoming more even-handed than they were. Except with sports games. Sports games are still boned, I think.
Yeah, sports games will probably never... They'll never change that stuff in sports games.
But yeah. All right. Was there anything else on the docket, or I think
only other big news on the docket, and this was more of a tiny thing, was that Guilty Gear Strive got delayed to June, which that was more news that kind of made me laugh because I don't know if you remember this, but when Cyberpunk got delayed, Arc System Works kind of trolled them by like saying, "Hi, we put Guilty Gear Strive on a yellow background" to like joke about their whole, way that they delay the game. And now this game is getting delayed, so it's like,
wow, good one, guys.
Haha, good one.
Yeah.
But that was more one that I was actually okay to see it delayed, because obviously we're living in the year of game delays ever since Cyberpunk came and, dutied on the gaming industry.
Yeah.
And
in a way, it was the necessary sacrificial lamb. The more I think about it, the more I'm realizing I'm like, I feel like the fact that it was such a like big profile game and the fact that it failed so hard and that it could have been like avoided very easily has just made waves across the entire like development cycle. It has made it abundantly clear to publishers like, no, if you want your game to perform, you have to like not crunch your developers and like actually
you gotta take your time.
Yeah, you gotta like take your time. And I really think it only... I'm sorry to cut you off, but...
no, you're good, you're good. Keep going.
I think the only way for, like, that change to have been noticed by that many is to have, like, a huge game like that just fail colossally. Like, it had to be a giant game. Like, it had to be, like, a really big game. Like,
it had to be a seemingly unfailable game. It had to be an unfailable game from a trusted developer that... made waves across beyond the gaming industry, because like Cyberpunk was one of those games that was getting noticed by people who don't play video games. Your grandma that probably can't even look at a TV screen anymore probably knew about Cyberpunk because that's the one that had Keanu in it or whatever. So like, as sad as it is, like you said, Cyberpunk was like the necessary failure, sacrificial lamb that kind of made it clear, stop rushing your damn games. And stop crunching your employees. So, like, that's why with Guilty Gear Strive getting delayed, I'm glad to see that got delayed, because that game genuinely looks really awesome. I know Arc System Works does a really good job with their fighting games, like Dragon Ball FighterZ was stunning. So, it's nice to see them, taking their time with it, and most of the delay was also because they were considering things that they learned from the game's beta that just came out, and they were taking that and trying to like, fix the game through that. So I'm like, I'm glad that they at least are taking that into account,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, the game looks awesome. So the more time you spend on a game like that, the better.
Yeah. So what is exactly it? What is it exactly? Because I haven't seen gameplay of it. It's another fighting game made by.
It's another fighting game, yeah.
Those guys, okay. It's like new IP, like completely, or is it?
No, Guilty Gear's been around for a while.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with the franchise compared to other fighters, but like Guilty Gear XR'd was like a really popular like competitive fighting game for several years. So this is just like, from what I understand, the next main entry in the series.
Okay. Is it gonna be like singles, like 1-on-1, or is it more like Marvel vs. Capcom in the same way that DBZ Fighters was, where you like pick 3 and then like go up against another 3?
That's a good question. Again, I'm not super familiar with the franchise, so I don't know if it's a 3v3 or not. I only have seen like bits and pieces of the gameplay. I know obviously it's, a typical 2D fighter kind of game, but I don't know if it's like a 1v1 or a 3v3 type of thing.
Right. Okay. Well, it's definitely something worth looking into for sure.
Yeah, and again, this is like I was thinking of, even again having not really been familiar with the franchise. I was hoping this would be like potentially my gateway into the series. So the more time they take with it, the better. Given that I kind of want to try this, I want to look at this and I want to be like, all right, this is going to be my first Guilty Gear game. I hope I like it. I want them to take as much time as they need, make sure it's as smooth, as good as possible, and that's why I'm okay with them delaying it. It's just more that I kind of laugh at the whole they trolled Cyberpunk about their delay and then had to delay their game.
Right.
That was more just like a haha chuckle.
Like a little meme, yeah. I get what you mean. But
you got it, right?
Yeah, I actually did get Cyberpunk. My brother was able to find it on GameStop's website for $20, and we got it because I haven't started it yet, but I told him get it because we were thinking of getting the game when the PS5 version comes out, because then it'll work. Hopefully. But we were like, I said to him, I was like, well, think of it like this, because we both want to get the game, we both want to play it. Would you rather just get it for $20 now so we could have it and get that free PS5 upgrade later, or wait till it comes to PS5 and costs $70? So that's when he was like, you make a good point, and then just got it.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully I'll start playing it soon. Maybe it'll work for me. Oh, who am I kidding? It won't, but it'll be worth trying.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I hope it ends up giving you a thrilling and positive gameplay experience. But
complete with cars flipping and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, guys. I think that covers everything for this week. But
yeah,
I would like to thank Layla for joining us this week. It was a pleasure hearing from you. And
it was great having you here, Layla. Thanks for joining.
For sure.
All right, thank you for inviting me.
No, of course.
Of course.
And thanks for everyone watching the stream. And hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you all next week. So now you guys get to see me alt-tab to my thing, and then I'll